Here we go, folks. Another super episode of Hot Off the Press. Puff print edition. All I've been doing lately is puff print, and you probably haven't seen an episode of me in quite some time because I've been stuck on this episode for about a week just trying to make this design. So I hope I can kind of go through like the pitfalls, the difficulties, why maybe it might not be for you. For example, my timer didn't start on this one, but I want to puff this for about 20-25 seconds. So in about 5 more seconds, I'm going to pull it. I'm going to make sure I cool it. This is a super large puff. Tell you a little bit about it. It's called the Louis Vuitton, play on Louis Vuitton, and I'll tell you more about that in 1 second. Let's get that first puff out of here. It's important that you cool these things down, and the best way I've found is to give them a really good shake. Now, I don't want to shake this design all over the place because it's like 1,000 pieces, but I have to cool down the portion that I pressed. So I just want to wave it, just like so. And I'll give you guys a tease. This is the Louis Vuitton grid line puff print that I designed myself, and it's killer. 7 color print here, and just look at the detail in this thing. Blueberries, limes, cherries. You know, I was really having a play on the Louis Vuitton, if you will. You know, I kind of was like, oh, I want to do Louis Vuitton, but I didn't look at this first at all, as you can tell. And I was like, how do I get to Louis Vuitton? So I just started drawing myself this pattern, like so. And I kind of did this grid line thing where it's like got all these, you know, rabbits, rainbows, CB rules, Pac-Man, you know, and I tried to put it in this form. I was then gonna like scan this in, but I had to make these match up for this entire shirt, and I just didn't know if I could make this work. So I ended up then moving to my Canva and doing like an arrow pattern with 3 arrows. But I used the tracer function, and if you know how to do this better, tell me, because I can't figure it out. But I ended up with like a line pattern, which I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I can live with it. It's very geometric. That's all I'm really looking for here. It's gonna puff like, you know, like a, maybe like, say like, what's that called? Diamond plate in your steel. You know, it's gonna look diamond plated. And it is. It's giving me that exact diamond plated effect I was talking about. And, you know, look at all this fruit. So yeah, you know, I decided Louis Vuitton, right? Like fruit, you know, but a pattern like Louis Vuitton, you know. Aren't I creative, right? And witty, right? Well, we got a lot more shirt to go here. So let's get this thing back on the hot press. And as I said, this thing's at 300 degrees. Every press is 25 seconds. And, you know, I had to make this grid pattern, and then because it was 3 lines and so forth, it really didn't want to pull up easily. When you're making puff print graphics, I'll show you more here in a second. Let's get the shirt going. We got to keep the action going as we keep the action going, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's part of why we call it hot off the press. You know, if I don't make sure I have it aligned though, I'm kind of wasting everybody's time. Ooh, hey, this thing's hot. Okay, so yeah, leave this to a professional. Don't do this at home if you're a kid without like the supervision of your mom and your dad. You know, it's kind of required. You know, but these presses that I have, I use just a 15 by 15 press, mainly because it has continuous, nice, even heat. I also use the 15 by 15 press because it doesn't take as much power and it doesn't heat the room up as bad. If you use a larger press, you will run into that. Again, for whatever reason, my timer's not going off, but again, about 30 seconds on your puff. Most people tell you 15, 20. I go a little longer, haven't found that that's really the issue. I find that cooling the puff is really the issue, as I said before. So you're gonna see another vigorous shake out of this. But yeah, with this Louis Vuitton print, we had to pluck and pluck and pluck, and I'll try to find you that actual square here. Let me see if I can grab it. We'll come right back. Yeah, and this is like that pattern all picked out, you know, so a lot of picking. And it took me like a day and a half and Jessica just to get the thing picked out. And then I had to do all these fruits. And oh yeah, you got to cool this thing down before I ruin it in front of you. And we are on our way. You know, this looks like a Trix shirt, you know. The silly rabbit would love this shirt, right? So we're going to keep going. Like I said, I'm just blocking it out, and I'm making sure that where I've puffed, I try not to repuff, and that everything is puffing evenly. I see like one blueberry I don't like, and that's why I hate puffing, to be honest with you. It's like frustrating and awesome all at the same time, because when you nail these things, you feel like you're Louis Vuitton, you know, you feel like you're the king of the world. And you know, I like surfing, and surfing is super hard and frustrating too. So I think I'm kind of like a glutton for punishment when it comes to some exercises. I'm just gonna set my timer, see if it works this time. You know, sometimes with these little cheaper presses, that's what you get. Okay, like again, I wanna make sure that my puff is over like the same even surface the entire time. You know, and the other thing is puffing in front of people is probably also the thing that I don't recommend the most, because you do require a level of concentration to it. Oh yeah, definitely timer not working this time, but don't worry, we're gonna count down, we're gonna get a little closer. The idea being, we finished this shirt out, we look like Louis Vuitton walking into a party. We got our own pattern, our own custom clothes. And you know, I see the duct tape prom dresses, I see all these other fads. This is embroidery, this is puffery, you know, this is just everything all in one, and it's better. You know, it never comes off the clothes. This stuff lasts forever. If you were like an 80s kid like I was, that puffed everything or like loved puffy shirts, they fell apart and they smelled real chemically, and it wasn't the best gig. But in general, puffed clothes, you know, they just fell apart. This vinyl stuff, it doesn't fall apart like that. You wash it cold. You're supposed to wash it inside out. Now, I have a blank inside here. I'm gonna take the blank out, and that's because the blank that I'm using doesn't have a sleeve. And so, you know, if I try to print this sleeve and I leave the blank in, I'm gonna get some issues with that. You know, as I may from just picking up the thing, you know. So much work goes into making your own clothing that when you are done with it, you should be super proud of the results. And you shouldn't put so much pressure on yourself to make sure that everything is like one thing. Like, that's kind of why I'm showing you my designs tonight, is I want you to realize, like, I wanted to make a Louis Vuitton shirt, and I ended up with a Louis Fruiton shirt, right? So that's the real deal here. It's like super fun. You know, my friends will go, dude, that thing is sick. I've never seen anything like that, you know, and that's really what I'm going for, is I want someone to say, how'd you do that? And I want to make content on YouTube that's interesting and fun and worthy of the like and the subscribe, right? So hopefully you can give me that, so I can continue to work my butt off making just super sick clothing, you know? And yeah, we'll get this shirt wrapped up here. Like I said, I don't want to rush it because I'm killing this one, and I don't want to screw it up. If I can get this last press, I got like a wrinkle in the paper or the shirt. I'm just trying to make sure that that's not going to affect it. Like I said, I'm really trying to nail this one for you guys. I want my channel to grow, and I don't think that you should reward me if I am not really making awesome stuff. And so, yeah, I just want to show you, you know, in the last couple weeks, I've been like super hard at all this other stuff. And so we're going to also release a how we got here episode, like how we got to the Louis Vuitton shirt. But yeah, it's ultimately fun, you know, and that's why we're here, is to have fun, to tell you to be creative, to make your own things, and to don't give up, because it's a process. And I've only been at Puff for like, since like, what month is it? It's April. It's almost April, right? So I started in January puffing stuff, and I started with like singular puff colors, and by now I'm merging, adding colors. Louis Vuitton, I'm like a designer, you know what I'm saying? And so just have fun. My timer is working, you know, and I'm gonna prove it to you because it's gonna beep this time, and that's when we're actually gonna release the shirt. But it's really the perfect time to release the shirt. Looks like I missed a couple here, and you can tell just by where you've hit it and not, so I'll have to hit one more press. That's okay, I wanna tell you more about it anyway. Let's give it a shake, cool it down. Oh yeah, this thing is just unreal. All right, and so we just have a final press here. Just that one area we missed, and that's no big deal. This is like super duper exciting. I'm gonna start going over the detail on it in the final press here. So if you wanna come in here and take a look at this, we'll start pulling it up. Just take a look here. This is Louis Vuitton. And you know, What I did here is I personally taped the bottom edge so that when I just like the embankment. And then if you do something like that, you can keep it super clean. And this is kind of like Pac-Man play. It's got it all, you know, puffy. I'm pulling it because I don't want everything to get messed up. I'm too close. Get this thing cooled down. Get this thing peeled off. Louis Vuitton. Make your own clothes. Have fun. It's not easy. Don't give up. This shirt has been, I think, 4 or 5 days in the making. And I am so stoked how it turned out. Whew. Almost got a tear in my eye. Shit sucks. I mean, it's kind of fun, but stay at it. And don't give up. You'll make awesome stuff too, and you can wear it. I'll be back with this on proudly in just 1 second. And so here we have it, folks, the final shirt. And to get there, you're going to start with this creative concept heat transfer puff vinyl. This is just an assorted pack, 12 by 10 inch slices, and it comes in all these colors, pink, blue, red. But you can get really any type. They're all very suitable. There's some premier brands, but I really don't recommend any. HTV front works just fine. From there, I went to a drawing, just like so. Okay, this drawing then, I went to a pattern in Canva that got broke down into a tracer like so. And if you can help me keep those more pointed and arrows, because I wanted pointed arrows on this shirt, believe it or not. And I didn't end up with that. I ended up with what you see here, the Louis Vuitton shirt, you know, a play on the Louis Vuitton that you see here. You know, so pretty cool. And this shirt, just to let you see how much work goes into a pattern like this, had to be cut out of Cricut using the gray pattern. This is completely weeded and plucked out of a piece of solid vinyl like so. And for this shirt in particular, I needed to use 3 sheets that were 2 feet long. So roughly 6 feet of grid to make this shirt. Okay, additionally, all of these colored puffs, limes, lemons, blueberries, grapes, apples, and my favorite, pink banana, you know? So, hey, have fun, be creative, make clothes. Make a gold banana. I tried it. Mine didn't come out so good. So we got the pink bananas, but stay in Louis Vuitton with that fruit on. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Thank you.